some of the principles that we're focused on, and we believe they're powerful organizing principles. We picked the three groups, and before actually convening this workshop, we had focus groups with the three industry sectors. And this is what all three groups said were critical to their interests. You'll notice the commonalities of concerns across the three groups. So fragmentation, obviously water goes across all three groups. Some type of a local distribution system. And the concern about localizing our resources to maximize the internal revenue can be generated here, minimizing the environmental costs associated with always going outside of our area. A lot of these were very similar. Marketing was an issue that all three groups identified independently, saying how we could work on those issues together in a powerful way. Out of our November 30th, December 1st workshop, we actually had 8 strategy groups that quickly formed into 4. There's a group that's working on storytelling, education, and branding. And I know this branding issue has been an issue for the county for a long time. Well, we've almost got the brand already since December 1st, believe it or not, that people are really excited about. It's almost done. There's a group working on infrastructure and investment about what we can do on our own around these issues. There's a group that's, 2 groups that have joined to work on bringing together the community focused on localization and focused on our own resources around the water issues and committed to work on and to find solutions to that. And localization of the food industry, which they've already had a workshop in
February 24th.
February 24th in Willis, where they brought, if you're going to talk about it.
A little bit.
Anyway, I'll save that for Kate. Bringing together producers and large consumers in restaurant groups and so forth about creating that localization and distribution network. It's already well on the way. So we're on a roll. We've just started in terms of actually going out to the community. We're getting calls from many other groups around the county asking us to come speak. So many of those groups that are already forming are starting to hear and wanting to connect up and work on some of these same visions and same principles within our own county. It's kind of a background. I'm going to, I hope that helps and say, well, what is Mendo Futures? It's an evolving process as we go. And I'd kind of like to turn it over to Tim perhaps next, and then Mark, followed by Kate, to share from their perspectives of wine, timber, and ag, and overall community, of what does this really mean on the ground from in terms of economic development.
Thank you. My name is Tim Thornhill, and I'm one of the partners out at Carducci Wine Cellars, Mendocino Wine Company. Briefly, I came here to live the rest of my life, reunite my entire family. I'm not here to buy and flip something, so while I've only been here for 5 years, my roots are probably considered to be pretty deep. I'm very interested in improving the economic picture here, but while minimizing environmental impact. I'm also a very strong believer that there's essentially nothing that you cannot accomplish with good communication and teamwork. I've built my entire career based on that philosophy. As far as I'm concerned, we are poised for a significant difference here, with green being the biggest thing going on across this country and probably the world. I doubt there's a large corporation whose top executives are not saying, find me sources of sustainable green products, find me green paper, green lights, whatever you want to call it. Green wine also fits in there. And I think as we've now recently named ourselves America's greenest wine region, we're probably poised pretty well to pick up on that. What I'm going to look at just is a very brief history of what we could have, should have, all those things. Just in last year, or let me take 2005, if we had stayed with Sonoma County grape prices, which we were at in 1988, but theirs have constantly gone up, and ours has basically stayed the same. In 2005, just on the raw product, we gave up $60 million on just the fruit that we sell. Not saying we should have grown more any of those things, just dollar for dollar, or ton for ton, if you will. One of our problems is that we are raw producers. I probably don't need to remind you, if you look at some other countries that just focus on producing the raw product, when things change, you're left behind. When there's an excess, you're left behind. Well, we get left behind, so that leaves us in very poor posture to renegotiate when it's popular again. And it does come and go here about every 7 to 10 years. But because we don't promote, or have not successfully, let me rephrase that for those who are promoting, thank you. We have not successfully promoted anywhere near the degree, and I'm not talking about Napa, but even Sonoma. We've not successfully promoted Mendocino as being an appellation. Are we successful at being the supplier? Absolutely. Out of 60,000 tons of fruit that are grown in this county, roughly 48,000 go directly to these other people, still as a raw product, still in the skins. They're making huge more, way more than the 60 million I'm talking about, because that $1,000 ton of fruit represents 20% of the FOB. I'm not even talking about the retail. You'd have to multiply it again, times 2. So just tons to tons, what we've given up by not keeping up in the promotional side of changing our perception of being the quality. I mean, is there really much question about whether we deliver quality? If we didn't, Napa and Sonoma wouldn't be buying nearly 50,000 tons of our fruit to improve the quality of their wine, is the way I say it. But they also use it for cost averaging. So the opportunity, as far as I'm concerned, here for us is to take an existing resource, maximize it. I'm not saying go plow more ground. I'm not saying add more sewer hookups. I'm saying change the perception and the value, and that's basically a marketing thing. And with the coast benefit, my theory is you basically make the word Mendocino a known word in Kansas and Georgia, and when they're looking at a wine list and they're asking, do you have something from Mendocino, that's what will change. And it will change for hotels on the coast, it will change for restaurants here, hopefully a little more tourism. Again, I moved here because I liked what I saw. I'm not interested in seeing these vineyards converted to housing projects or much of anything else, quite frankly. And they don't need to be. However, if we don't take care of and support those growers, because they were growers, nobody take offense, they weren't really big businessmen, which is what you did end up with in Napa and Sonoma. Doctors and lawyers in San Francisco bought properties in Napa and Sonoma. They're businessmen. They realize there's oil under that ground, basically. They converted to vineyard, they put in tasting rooms, they promoted themselves, they united themselves. You've probably all looked at the report that was done in 1998 that showed that Mendocino County was spending 1/10 of what the next highest county, which was, I believe, Lake at that time. So we were spending 1/10 of what almost nobody was spending. We were spending way less than that compared to Napa and Sonoma to promote the name Mendocino, essentially, to make it worth having. We want the Kendall Jacksons of the world to feel like Mendocino is something to put on their label. Kendall Jackson has actually started doing that a little bit. But we need more of them, obviously. I'm not suggesting that we stop shipping fruit to Napa and Sonoma. I will tell you that if we were growing the same fruit we grow now, and we weren't shipping it out, you'd have 7 more Carducci facilities in this county in order to offset it. And I'm not suggesting you do that, or that we would do that, but we need to put it a little more in balance, so that when there is the ebb and flow of the supply and demand, we don't drop, because we're the first thing to get dropped, we're the last thing to get picked up. We drop the farthest in our prices, and we're the slowest to come back up, and we never come back up to what your other supply counties are doing. I appreciate your time, and thank you for listening to me. I think the way forward is for Mendocino County to earn our fair share by aggressively promoting our great wines from our grapevines. I do appreciate you taking the time to listen to us, and I welcome questions after this.